welcome to the You Can Be Anything podcast. My name is Solange Che and I am your host. Today on the podcast, I'm honored to have somebody that I have known for a while. Yes, there was some kind of disconnect as life happened, but something happened again and we reconnected. So today on the podcast, I have a friend. She was my high school senior prefect. In those days, you know how in boarding school you have your SPs. I was a prefect too, but I don't even know why I earned that. I was a social prefect, but I did not even know what that meant. So at school, we were not very close, but I admired her. And I was always like, hey, she has a very cool personality. Fast forward to 2010, after we left high school, that was the last time I met her in Cameroon when she visited my daughter when I had my baby in 2010. She visited us. I did not see her again. I don't know if she left Cameroon before me, but I know that that was the last time I saw her in 2010. Fast forward again, 2019, I bumped into her in California at a wedding in Gilroy. We exchanged numbers, but we did not really get to talk a lot. And I don't know what happened. So this is where my little story comes in. Remember, on my podcast, I like to talk about stories. And these stories are my life experiences from where I bring up the things we talk about. I bring up people to throw light on them. So this day, after one of my hectic days in California, I was from driving. So I did my survival job as a CNA. I was still studying to become a Salesforce consultant. I had 2 Salesforce certifications at that time, but I had no full-time job. So I still worked as a nursing assistant. In order to supplement my income, I decided to start driving for Uber and Lyft. So I would work Monday and Friday in a nursing home, and Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, I would go drive in San Francisco, from Fresno to San Francisco. It was fun. I liked it because, yes, it gave me the money I needed to survive at that time. And I remember coming back from San Francisco one day. I picked up Haley from my cousins, and when we got home, I felt this heaviness in my heart. I needed to talk. I did not know who to talk to. I did not know who I could open up to. But I sat in my car and I cried. I brought Haley upstairs, went back down. I sat in my car and I cried because I did not want her to see me cry. So I'm in there. I cry. I pray. I cry. That's how I relieve my stress. And I go back home, unfortunately, because Haley and I, we share space, and she's always all over me. She notices I was crying, and she's like, hey, mommy, what's up? She consoles me. I tell her that I'm just a little bit worried about the things in life, and I just needed some space. So she goes out of our bedroom, and she sits in the sitting room watching her TV. I don't know what came over me, but something told me to call this person I have on the platform today. I don't know why. But there was that silent voice that kept telling me, call her. I picked up my phone, and fortunately, even though we had exchanged numbers, I had not communicated with her so often. So I dialed her number. And the strangest thing happened. The fastness in which she answered that call scared me. So I was on the other side of the phone, but I was like, hey, you know how you're calling somebody and you're not even sure of what you want to tell them? And they answered that fast? It scared me. And I'm like, okay, all right. She says, hey, so, and I'm like, hi, Buri. I'm sure she heard the shivering in my voice. But the sweetest thing that happened is that she did not stop me from crying. She let me cry. She stayed on the phone and I cried. I spoke to her. And after I cried, you know, when you cry, there is a moment where you catch your breath, right? She listened to my cry. You will not even imagine how healing that was to me, but it was magical. When I was done, she said, okay, let's talk. I explained to her, I told her how I was feeling, not because I actually needed a solution from her, but I believe that at that moment, my heart was telling me to air it, speak to someone. And so I spoke to her. She listened to me. We talked. And after that call, I took Haley downstairs to a restaurant that we normally eat at, and we ate there, and we came back home. And I was like, yes, I feel better. Sometimes in life, I want you to know that you might just need to talk to someone not because they have the solution to your worries, but just because you need that one person that will give you that listening ear. This girl, Buri Bongfen Ndefru, was my listening ear. The listening ear that just gave me that time to recollect, to re-strategize in my life and refocus. Today on the platform, I am honored to have her. Till today, till date, I still talk to her. I'm sure if she had a consulting firm, if she was some kind of coach, I'll be paying her a lot of money. But until she does that, I'm using her services for free. And my gratitude to her. So, yes. Thank you so much, Buri, for accepting my invitation. Thank you for joining us on the You Can Be Anything podcast.
Wow, what a story. Thank you so much, Solange. I feel so honored to have been called to be here today.
Of
you
course.
definitely have something on me. So,
Yes.
and I believe you want to get
Awesome.
something out. So I'm all for it. So it feels really good to know that I was able to help you when you needed the help. That I will never take for granted. And if you ever need anything, Solange, I'm here. I was a listening ear. There's no day I'm going to stop being a listening ear. So today, I guess you have a lot more you want to pull out of me.
Before we start off with this awesome conversation we are looking forward to having today, Buri, please tell my audience a little bit about yourself. Who is Buri Bongfen?
Buri is a wife, a mom, and quite recently, a software configuration specialist. Buri has worked for a good number of years in finance, held positions as a billing specialist, accounting assistant, even as a teacher. So over the years, I've done quite a few things. I like variety. That for sure I know. So I've done a few here and there. And today, I'm just going to talk about what I have learned along my journey, my personal, professional life. And that is going to narrow down to just skills. Because when I looked through, when you reached out to me, I kept asking myself, what does Solange want me to talk about? It's not like I have some direct path that I've been following all through, or something that I have like a major thing that someone will look into and say, oh, Buri is whatever. Like, there is no particular thing. But I looked through, and the main theme that was very coherent throughout my journey has been skills.
Awesome. So you've all heard her. And from the many things she does, I just want to assure you, my dear listeners, you listening to me out there, who at one point in life felt like, or you feel like it's all done for you. No, it is not. Again, the goal of this podcast is to remind you that you have the potential to become your best version. As you can see, just as I talk about myself all the time, I'm super excited that Buri decided to come share her own experiences with us today. So yes, Buri, come on, tell us, how has this journey been for you? How has this skilling up journey been for you? What advice do you have for someone out there who might have gone to school, have gotten the formal education we all have, but still finds themselves in society like lost, still finds themselves not being able to place a finger on what they really want to do? What advice do you have for that kind of a person?
Since we're here to tell stories, I believe that for me to be able to communicate what I have, I will tell stories about myself. That way it's relatable. Maybe someone can pick something from there. But when you reached out and we're trying to figure out, okay, there's a lot we can share. I mean, from our conversations, we've been talking about so many different things. We did narrow down to skills being the icing on the cake. Now, why we came to that is because when I look at my journey, now I would like to start from where I left Cameroon. That was sometime in 2012. I moved to Canada. When I moved to Canada, my sisters were already there. So, I mean, I had a little bit of coaching and as to what is the best thing to do. You know, you're new to a country, you want to figure out where do you start. And my sister told me, I know you talk well. So maybe you can start off with a role as a customer service representative somewhere. I didn't know what that meant. In Cameroon, we don't have those jobs, right? Well, now we do, because I am seeing like MTN, Orange, they have all of that coming in. But then I didn't know what that meant. So this opportunity comes up, I mean, on her phone. She looks at it, she's like, okay, they are looking for customer service representatives for Western Union. And the role is going to be a bilingual role. Okay. Now I'm like, okay, you're talking to this typical Bamenda girl. You're talking about being bilingual. But mind you, Canada has two official languages, English and French. And coming from Cameroon, of course, we are more French than English, even though I come from the typical English part of Cameroon. But of course, being in school, you kind of, one or two words here and there in French, you know, you go through your French education, you write your exams and all of that. So, I mean, at that point, I wasn't kind of, well, whatever it is. I mean, I knew that I passed French exams back in school, but it's different when you have to communicate in French. So for me, this was a long shot, but I gave it a go. So I went for the interview. It went well. I was hired. Mind you, this was 3 weeks after I got to Canada. Got to Canada in September. I started working in October. So at that job, we were trained in English. The trainer was English speaking. We're trained in English, but we had to get on the phones and speak French. And it was going to be only French. They said bilingual, but the interesting thing is we had to speak just French because they had enough people to speak in English. I got connected with this girl from Congo. She helped me a lot with a few of those sentences that would kind of make sense when you're giving your greeting. Of course, you're with the headset and you have to introduce yourself in French and then let the person talk to you and tell you what they are calling you about. So I picked up on a few of her statements that made a lot of sense to me. And we started the job. I mean, 1 week went by, 2 weeks. Oh my God, that was quite a foundation for me in Canada. Mind you, most of our customers were in Quebec, the most French-speaking part of Canada. And in Quebec, they have what they call Quebec. So it's not really French.
Dialect of French.
It's
a variation.
It's a very strange sounding French. So getting on the phones, and I mean, when we learn French in school, we cannot speak clearly. They have kind of a linguist that it's linking word after word. So it was first of all difficult to understand them, but I still had to get going. Why am I bringing this? That's the first skill, language skills. If you have language skills, there's no reason why you're not putting them to use. I learned a few sentences. I got a job going and spoke French from day one of my job to 3 months into the job. Never English. That to me was the greatest validation I could ever have. So fast forward, 3 months into the job, I'm comfortable. I felt like I'm Parisian speaking to those Quebecois.
I can imagine.
That's a level of confidence I had built because I gave myself a try and I was building on that language skill. Now, that catapulted me to RBC, Royal Bank of Canada. So 3 months into it, I have this sister. She's the one who will motivate you to do anything. I love her for that. So she said, now you know what? This job is really not paying that much. People with French in this country make a lot of money. Let's try something else. So she comes up with this job opportunity for RBC, still customer service, but it was going to be for travel insurance.
Yeah.
Mind you, I have a background in finance, and so it was more appealing to me. I said, okay, let me try this. I got into it. Now the training was going to be only in French because the trainer was French speaking and we're still getting in as bilingual customer service reps. So that training went so well. I could not believe it because guess what? I had built on my French skills from the prior job. So now listening to people talking French was just, it was second nature now. I started talking, but please don't ask me to speak French right now.
Man,
But all the same, that was another experience. So, well, at RBC, we did both French and English. So the calls would come in French and English, and whichever was routed to you, you just had to go with the flow. So I kept building on that. So that's the first part, language skills. And it's my understanding that a good number of us, especially those of us who come from French Africa, we kind of have one or two, we have an edge over those who do not have that second language. But we don't use it. We don't. We come here and we feel like, okay, because I'm from the English side, mind you, this is a Bamenda girl, Banso girl. I'd never studied in Yaoundé or Douala or wherever, or any of those French cities. But I was able to tell myself, I can do this. So this is why I say skills are the icing on the cake. Yes, I'm going to learn whatever material they give me as far as insurance is concerned and process whatever, go through the licensing exam. I did all of that. But then what was putting me above or ahead of everyone else was the fact that I could speak French. And that particular job advert was for bilingual
gives you a
people.
chance.
So that already narrows it down. And you are part of that group. So that's why I believe that skills make a big, big difference.
Yes.
And if I keep going, now after RBC, I moved to the US. I got married and moved to the US. Now I have to start all over again. But getting a job in the US, I moved here sometime, January of 2016. And I started a new job in May. I think it was May, yes. So this job was, I was working as an accounting assistant with US Globe Corporation. Now this is a company that deals with office equipment for the Department of Health, Department of Justice, all these departments here in the US. What they needed, mind you, another skill. All the one that when I was going, they advertise a job, you look at the job description, you're like, okay, this has a little bit to do with finance, accounting. I could give this a try. And then you walk into the interview and they have an interview for you for 20 minutes. 20 minutes only. What did they ask me? They put a spreadsheet in front of me, asked me a few questions. If you wanted the total of this to be the
Excel.
How are you going to do this? This is on Excel. How basic is that? So I went ahead. That was a piece of cake. I totaled everything, did a few, the drag of the formula and all of that, and I was done in 15 minutes. They didn't ask me a question in accounting or in finance. They wanted to see if I had the Excel skills. That's all they cared about. And what I've come to understand with most employers, or generally the culture in North America, is they want to know if you can do the job. Nobody cares if you've been to the best schools, if you have whatever degree. Not to undermine formal education. It's good because that helps you, to process information faster. It gives you the foundation. But again, I was getting this position because of the skill I had. So that landed me this job. I did that job. 7 months down the line, I was like, no, these people, they have a toxic work environment. I don't want to be here anymore. There were so many different things that were going on. I was just like, no, these are not my kind of people. I can't relate with these people. So I'm looking for another job. I went to a job, billing specialist for a healthcare advertising company. Of course, that had to do with finance. But then what took me to that job again was Excel. They didn't ask me anything in finance. They knew that I was going to come in and learn all of their processes and everything. But they wanted to know, can you do a few things in a spreadsheet? Fast forward to 2000 and I think it was, two years into that job, there was a big issue with one of our clients in Germany. They wanted their invoices done in a particular way, and they were kind of demanding, very demanding as compared to the other clients. And then they come in and they say, oh, we are not getting what we want. And I was doing the billing. So I know exactly what their receipts look like, but they wanted all of that in a way that when they open up one PDF file, they see everything and they understand why the bill is the way it is. Guess what? I took a deep dive into my Excel skills again. That was something that had been ongoing for like maybe 5 months, and it was becoming a big deal. One day after work, I closed. It was 5 o'clock. I was done for the day. But I'm like, this client, there has to be a way out. I sat down, took my time, created a spreadsheet with all of their receipts and everything, such that once they opened it, they were able to see totals. They were able to see totals for travel. They were able to see whatever it was on one spreadsheet, in one shot. That's all they wanted to see. I sent that out to the client. The client called my boss, the finance director at the time, and said, this is all we needed. This is all we were looking for.
Tell me about it, girl.
Guess who got a raise?
Yes.
So you see, it's skill again.
Yes.
Nothing to do with finance. It had nothing to do with accounting. It had nothing to do with any other field of study.
Yes.
It just had something to do with a skill.
Yep.
How are you solving a problem with a skill?
Which is awesome, yeah.
So
it's awesome. I just wanted to interject
again.
something, you know how people have these skills, like this Excel. When I did my master's, right, I did not get to do, I did a little bit of analysis here and there, but again, as a linguist, I did not really have to interact a lot with Excel. Right?
Yeah.
But again, I realized that this is a skill that we cannot run away from. You know how many of us live in this country that are Excel experts, and we have not done anything with that skill? Anything with it. Like, even till date, I still get challenged with Excel sometimes with some VLOOKUP stuff, and I call my sister and she helps me out. That's because she is, I always tell her that she's an Excel witch because she is crazy with it, which is awesome. You know how many people walk around with that skill? How many people who really know how to deal with, but in their pockets, they don't use it. We just need to open up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Open up a little bit. Think a little bit more. Just a little bit more. And to tell you the honest truth, I'm no wizard when it comes to Excel. I am as basic as anything. But then it's a matter of thinking about just recognizing the fact that you have that skill, first of all, because we tend to forget the skills that we have. But those are learned skills. Let's even talk about innate skills. Now, you started off with a story about how I listened to you and all whatnot. Well, when I was at RBC, working as a customer service rep, that's one thing that came up a few times, and I used it to my advantage. I was told that I have people skills. Of each manager I worked with, they told me I had people skills. So what did I do? When I went on the phone with any client, I was as empathetic as anything. So that kept bringing back business. I kept receiving gift cards. I kept receiving these awards for best call of the month. Oh my God, we're going to listen to Buri's call. Oh my God, listen to how she praised this. Oh my God, that alone is very satisfying. You come to a job knowing that you're
really bringing value.
You're just not.
That's what these guys are looking for, value.
Bringing value. Exactly. That's what they want. They want somebody who can bring value. So those are some of the skills. Those are innate skills. Excel is maybe a learned skill. Yes. But all of them are skills. And those are the things that put you above everyone else. So we really need to deep dive. Go deep into what you have within you. I'm very passionate about bringing out what is within you, because I've seen that happen in my personal journey. Bringing out the best that you can. There is so much. And people tend to not even realize how much potential they have, because there's a lot of seeking validation from other people
that's so true.
who do not even have your potential.
That's so true. Buri,
you can offer.
I remember a couple of months ago when you just had your baby, and I think you were, we started talking about this when you were still pregnant, right? About skilling up. Okay, you were still pregnant, and I remember you with the COVID hit and all of that, and you called me and you were talking, you asked me about IT, you asked me about SQL and stuff, and I remember telling you I will never forget what I said to you. And it's the same thing I said to our classmate and friend, Enda Bongo. I told her the same thing the day she called me. I was like, hey, the day Buri called me to ask me about SQL, and she had, hey, so do you think that's something that I can do? I'm really looking into this. I'm not sure if it's something. And I told her, I was like, Buri, when we were in SAC, I remember I've never been a best student. I've never been the kind of student that will be, no, it's not, it has never even been of interest to me. I just want to pass and go. That was my life. Until I got to university that I started seeing those high class things. But high school, I just wanted to eat my food and pass and go to the next class. That's it. And I told her, yes, that was just it about me. And I remember telling Buri that, Buri, if I can learn SQL, if I can learn SQL and Oracle database, take the certifications and pass, Buri, you can do better. And I told her that. And why did I say that? It's just because I wanted to break that down. Like, hey, this has nothing to do with whether how difficult is IT or is computer or what. All you need to do is put your mind to it. Do you want to do it? Learn it. Spend the time. She's not going to tell you that. She's going to tell you about it in a minute. But I bet you one thing she's not going to tell you is that it was easy. It was not. She put in the time. And so that is very important. Buri, please tell us about skilling up. Yes, you're an accountant. You did all the customer service job. You did the billing specialist, but today that's not what you do. How did you get there? What did you do?
This is the most dramatic move I've ever made. So, how does this go? I have an older sister. Actually, she's the first of us. And she has a friend who has been in the US for a while. She too has a finance background. But now she's doing, I don't even know what her role is. I don't know the title. But she's doing so well when it comes to technology. So she talked to my sister. She said, I know your younger sister is a smart one. Talk to her. I believe that she can do this. When I moved to the US, she actually called me. That was like 5 years ago. And she said, Buri, there is this path I'm thinking you should follow. But of course, I had just moved to a new country. There was a lot going on. I'm married, newly trying to process all of that. And I didn't really think about it that much. But here I was, after my baby, I had a little time I was on mat leave. So my sister talked to me again about her and that she had reached out to her and said, did you talk to Buri? I feel like she should really get on this path. So I said, okay, let me look into what she's saying. I don't know, I'm not sure. I just want to. So I looked into a few articles online. I tried to read a little bit, research. And then I said, oh, Solange has been talking about Salesforce database. What does this even mean? Maybe she's the right person to contact to talk about this. So I reached out to you, of course, and I basically laid out my my dreams, my interest. And then you said, okay, you're going to look for someone who can maybe get me started. Now you gave me some 3 contacts. I just looked at them. I'm like, okay, I'm going to choose one. So I chose this online class school, whatever. They are based in India. Now, mind you, I was on mat leave. Baby in hand, 2 months old. But at least I had help from my mom was here at the time. My mother-in-law is with me. So during the day, they will, do whatever they had to do with the baby. And then at night, because of time difference, the classes for the sequel, there was introductory course. Of course, I just wanted to know what is this about. So I took an introductory course with them. And I would go to attend the class from 9:30 p.m. to 11:30 every day. Mind you, I'll have to put my baby in a bassinet right beside me, and I'm listening to an Indian accent, and it's all sounding like, what the heck is this? So I kept going. A few days passed, and I'm like, okay, I think I'm gradually getting the sense of what you're saying. And 2 weeks, maybe almost 3 weeks down the line, the course was like a really, really crash course. It was coming to an end in 3 weeks. So after that, I was like, I felt like I needed a little more schooling, a little more hand holding. So, I am very good at conversation. That's my thing. I like to have conversations with people, conversations that have meaning, value. So I was talking one day casually with one of my neighbors. And he also is a finance guy, so we have a lot that we talk about. And then I let him know that I was doing one of these courses in SQL. He's like, "Oh my God, that's a really good course." I started one time, but I just didn't finish. But I have a very good book that you could maybe use. I took his textbook, went into it page after page. That took me another 1 month to go through that book. And while I was going through the book, I'd reached out to this lady who was telling me I could do the sequel. And she also told me you can also go on YouTube and follow this particular guy. I think he explains it very well. So while I was reading the textbook, I was going on YouTube. I mean, it was more convenient too for me because, I mean, with a little baby, you want to catch some rest at night. Going to bed at midnight every day it wasn't very practical. So I went on studying with the book and YouTube videos on and back and forth. And by the end of December of last year, I felt like I was really in a good place. I kind of had an idea what it was all about. But I told myself, okay, now what? How do I test myself? How do I know that I'm understanding this? So I said, well, I still have mat leave. Let me take advantage of it. So I decided to look into Microsoft. They have a few certifications. So I applied. No, what they say, you kind of pay for a certification exam. So I paid for one. It was supposed to be, I registered. Sorry, that's a word. I registered, and it was going to be, the exam was going to be at the end of January. So I had another month to kind of go through. So I took the time. I mean, I would sit there, even though I wasn't working. My husband had gone to work, and the kids, I mean, grandma is kind of handling them. I would jump in and just go through a few videos, do some past questions that I found online. Everything was pretty easy to find, and I was surprised.
Online.
The resources that we have, and we're not using them. Yeah, online. Once you have the internet, you have everything. So I was going from place to place looking for past questions. I found this site. They had really good past questions, and everything was free. So I went through those past questions. And when it was time to get the exam done, I went in, did the exam. And of course, those IT things, once you do the exam, the results comes right there. I passed. I was like, oh my God, I passed this exam.
You can do this.
It really settled. Like, okay, you can do this. Then so I went back to my job. I resumed work. And one day, out of the blue, I would never go into our company website looking for anything. Like when I do my job and I'm out. This fateful day, I went into our company website and I was clicking around. Then I see careers. I went in there. I say implementation specialist, and then started looking at the job description. All that they needed. Someone with a finance background who has a little knowledge of SQL.
Ta-da!
Whoa. That
it's still gives you chills, right?
I don't even believe that was possible. There had to be the grace of God somewhere. Something was, why did I even go in there that day? So when I saw it, I applied for it online, but I got my manager involved. I'm like, okay, this is something I'm interested in. Everyone was really blown away to think that I was on mat leave at the same time healing up. It's hard. You have a baby, and then nobody wants to. And mind you, pregnant during the pandemic, I was all swollen up. I was all like, I needed the rest. But I put in the work, and today's paying off. Because down the line, when my manager got involved, she was like, okay, I'm going to let the HR people know that you applied already. And if it's going to be an interdepartmental transfer, then we can work on it and all whatnot. So the HR person called me and said, okay, we have your application, but you have no idea what software our company uses for this implementation job. So we're going to give you a little bit of an edge above every other external candidate that will be taken in. We're going to let you study the software on your own for 1 month, and then you come in for an interview like everyone else. There I was again at school, studying a new software called Controller View 10. So I went through that, and then it was time for the interview. Interview went really well. One of the best interviews I've ever had.
Science girl.
My professional. Yeah. After the the interview, I was pretty sure they were going to hire me. And a few weeks later, I was called up and told, okay, we have an offer for you. So that's how I find myself now. It's still even hard.
What's your role again?
I'm what they call it?
You're an implementation specialist. Congratulations to you, girl.
Yeah. Is your camera okay?
Yeah. Congratulations to you. I love for people to hear about things like this because we really get caught up with where we find ourselves in life and we forget to know that we have that potential to go for more. It is okay to want more. It is very much okay. The same way I always say it is okay to start loving by loving yourself before anyone else. It is okay for you to want more. So congratulations again. Whenever I look at you, I'm like, oh my God. I remember our days of talking about the possibilities of this. And I hope that this really inspires someone who is in your place, or maybe they've not even been able to find what they want to do, to just realize that sometimes you just want to go look at, just think of a company you would like to work for, right? Open that company website, look for careers, look for the jobs they have, look at the kind of things they offer. I know that in this world, in the professional world these days, they're always looking for people with experience. But I also know that there are those companies that will hire. You can build your experience from what you've done in the past. Your people skill, that is experience. What you're doing now, you can build that out as a soft skill. And that is still very important. Look at those things. If you see one that appeals to you, learn it. Learn a skill. You don't have to go to college to learn it. You don't need that tuition. Learn it. Do self-education. Go on YouTube. Go on Udemy. Go on, I think there's one called Cybrary or so. Go on. I learned on Udemy. I learned a lot about Salesforce on Udemy. I do a lot of my sales. Yes, IntelliPath. Yes, that's another good one. Yeah. Just go into those places. Look for those skills. Look for something that you think, you believe that you can do and enjoy, and learn it. There is the market is big. That is the truth about it. It is huge. Pick a skill, learn it. Just as the way I love the way Buri calls it. She says skills are the icing on the cake. You know, when you hear somebody like her talking like this, you can just tell what kind of person she is. She is not only an implementation specialist with finance and Excel and accounting. She also bakes. She bakes, she does her magical things with her hair. And I love her Buri's creation thing. I'm always watching her. I'm like, well, how did you do that? So yes, in spite of the fact that she is a wife, she's got 2 babies to take care of. She has to take care of her husband. She has her mother. She has to take care of herself. She has to work. She also still finds time to do these fun things. She finds time to bake. She finds time to play around with her hair, with her daughter's hair. I think you used to actually do hair have you done hair for people too? Okay, yeah, before COVID hit. Oh, yeah. Yes, let's say more.
Yes. So, yes. Again, we are going back to skills. So I want to say that my hands are pretty blessed. That is a fact. From when I was growing up, I would kind of mess around with people's hair. I've always loved hair from a very tender age. But it's interesting because I never kept hair as a little girl growing up. My parents,
like me,
I was always like, well, everything down. But yeah, I looked pretty good though. Yeah, but I was all into, I want to do cornrows. I want to try different style. I remember when Anita and I in Boya, people knew us as this guy, R. Kelly. We would watch R. Kelly's, we would look at R. Kelly's new style and create it on ourselves. That's how far we would go. She too was very good at braiding. So I would braid her hair, she would braid mine. But when I came to Canada, when you're leaving Cameroon, it's pretty standard now. People try to learn how to braid hair because they can make money out here. Of course, it pays really well out here. Hair that you would do in Cameroon for maybe
quick note, Buri.
5,000? No, 3,000 francs for.
Before my vacation with Haley, I wanted to braid my hair. I called the hair salon and asked them that I wanted to do like medium locks, or how do they call it? They told me it was like $250 to $300. I went to the barber. No, it is not cheap, for real. My sister does my hair.
I know.
Yeah, it is a lot of money. So I've seen Cameroonians make a lot of money out of that. You just need to be organized and make to your business. You can make some good money from that. Yeah, sorry for interrupting you. I just needed to mention.
So when I go to Canada, no, that's fine. Yeah. So when I got to Canada, I would do my sister's hair at home, and then she goes to work. I mean, it started all like, I did her hair. She went to work. Her colleague was like, "Whoa, who got your hair done? I want a person to do my hair." And like that, I had her colleagues come over to have their hair done. I would just look for maybe a Saturday or a Sunday. I'm not working, and we will do the hair, and they will pay me
Good money.
$100 here, 120. That I put together. Guess what? That money, at some point, I gathered enough to be able to pay to do the CFA exam, Certified Financial Analyst.
Wow.
Yes, money from here. That exam, of course, I didn't make it in the exam. It was pretty. Oh my God, it was daunting. But to have been able to pay for that, and we're talking about after tax dollars. This money is coming to you like straight. There is no tax on it. Like you are having a chunk. So I used that money to pay for an exam. Later on, I kept going with my hair braiding and all of that. I would just, my sister was kind of my my billboard. I would do all kinds of styles on her hair. People admired and they came over. They started flogging in. Later, I used that money that I got from hair to sponsor a portion of my
Doesn't your husband love you? Men love women who contribute in the wedding, right?
Yeah. But just to tell you how a skill again could really take you to another level. So with all I continued with my hair braiding. But when I moved to New York is huge. Oh my God. That's Dominican here. There is African braiding over there. I remember when I first got to New York and I told my husband, I would really like to start something small. I do my hair. When he used to visit me in Canada, he would come sometimes on a day when I have a client. He would lie on the couch and I'm braiding. So he knew that I was really passionate about this. So we got to New York. He's like, I told him, I would like to start off something small on the side, the side hustle thing. And it was like, but New York, there's a lot to think about. If you have to set up something, rents and this and that, and then the competition too is big and all of that. He took me on the main street here that we have. After every 2 doors, there's a salon. So, but remember that you are unique. Regardless, everybody could be doing the same thing, but everyone does it differently. So I didn't just kind of relax on my skill. I would still let people know, like at church or if I had a friend or something. I mean, I didn't know many people here, so it took a while for me to be able to get clients. But still,
you still
to
do?
date, I do
nice.
hair. People will come into my home, I still do hair. Yeah, and I enjoy it. That's a part that, it's my happy place. Just playing around with hair, making different styles. Now I've cut my hair, but
you
I
even
love
do
this
your
one.
own hair. That's the one that always baffles me. Like, how do you braid your own hair? That does shit. When I see people do that, it's magical.
Again. Yeah. So I think it was Inda one time. She asked me, "How do you do it? How do you see the back?" It's the mindset. Sometimes you just have to think, okay, if I were doing it on someone else, trust yourself. I would probably be putting this right here. So, but just try to make clean parts and all that.
Yeah,
but
that's so awesome. That's so awesome. Okay, who else will talk better about skills? Sometimes when I talk about it, I'm like, yes, everybody knows. I'm sure if there is one thing that somebody knows about me since I started my podcast, is how I encourage people to skill up, because that worked for me. I had to learn new skills to find myself in the place where I wanted to be in life. Till today, I still learn. Even on the job, I'm always trying to be, hey, how do these people do this? I want to learn how to do that. And even on my current job as a consultant, I keep telling my manager, like, hey, you know what? I want to become a solutions architect. The solution architects design the architecture for the whatever solution they're trying to put. And as a consultant, I implement it. I want to be that person that designs that architecture, right? So, and I take baby steps. I go towards it. It's called skills. It's just skilling up. You can start from anywhere and just build it and go forward and go on. You just need to create the time and tell yourself that, hey, this is what I want to do, and you'll be able to do it. Nobody else. I really appreciate you for coming up and talking about this skills thing. I listened to your journey and it just really wowed me. And I'm like, you know what? I would be very happy if Buri can come up and speak from another perspective, from another life. Because yes, I always tell people that I was in school for 28 years. I went to school till I was 28 without.
I know, right? We go to school, we keep going to school, school after school. And then one other thing that baffles me is we come out to the Western world and we've been studying all this while. You come out to the Western world at your late 20s, 30s. And not to say that it's wrong to go to school or to keep going, but think about it. There's a lot inside of you that you can bring out to kind of make a living. But you are drawn to go take a loan and get another master's.
You already have.
Upon the master's you already have. You already, like there's a foundation already. By the time I believe so much in the Cameroon education system.
It teaches way too much.
We get the drill. It teaches a lot. So you have a good foundation. Believe it. You have a good... It's just that we have this idea, we're coming from Africa, we feel like everything in the white man's world is better. No. Let me give you an example. When I came, when I moved to Canada, of course, I said, I just jumped into work and I've been working and skilling up and whatever. It's only when I got to the US, at some point I thought, okay, should I do a CPA? Well, let me check. What do I need to do a CPA? To do the certification? And then I talked to someone and he told me, oh my God, how I wish I knew this when I just got here. I would never have done another master's because what I needed for CPA, I had it from UB, my UB degree. I was like, oh, really? He said, yeah. Now he's stuck with a 35,000 loan that he took to do another master's that he didn't have to. And he told me, you know what? Do not go for any other master's. You have enough. So I told myself, okay, let me just do an evaluation. I reached out to this evaluation company, the credential evaluation people. I submitted my documents and they did all the calling around, called Cameroon, I did a postgraduate accounting in NSET, Bambili. I was being trained to teach accounting. How do you call it? Higher ENS. So he told me, submit your documents and see what they say. So I submitted through the evaluation agency, and then they came back with the results. And this guy had to actually call me personally to say, you did all of these credits in 2 years? I was like, yeah. And then he told me just that postgraduate diploma that I did was equivalent to a bachelor's degree and a master's. So forget about UB. Forget about my banking and finance degree from UB. Yeah. Just that alone. I was surprised. I was very shocked.
That's so true,
but he told me, so why would I get another master's? So that's what I told myself, no. But the CPA, I started thinking about it and, things started happening. I'm scaling up with this and moving, like I told you my story already. So that's how I ended up not doing it.
So of course, who knows? It can happen. Nobody knows. So the point here, go ahead.
At least, all I'm saying is, the point is, before you go on to take a loan to go to more school, check what you have. Believe in your certificates. Maybe you just need a skill to take you to another level. Learn a new skill. Or even at your job, do something with the skills that you already have.
Yeah, you took that out of my mouth.
And you move up the ladder. You don't necessarily... you don't necessarily
you took that out of my
do
mouth.
Another whole course and get yourself into debt. We are all struggling to get our financial independence and all whatnot. Yeah. We're learning all of this in financial literacy. But if you have to get ahead in your financial freedom game, you have to learn to cut back on your costs. Cut back on those loans, on debt.
This is awesome. You see, if I leave this girl here, she's gonna tell. Right. She is made of this, right? So Buri, thank you so much. But before we round this up, right? Generally, this is You Can Be Anything podcast. You don't get off my platform without talking to that one person. I'm always looking for that one person that this message is going to impact. I don't need it to impact the whole community. I'm looking, please send a message to that one person that is going to listen to you and change something in their life. You have the mic, girl.
If I'm going to finish with some last words, I think there's a group of people that I would like to address. This will be for married women. I know, being married now for a while, it gets really challenging. The kids, family, you have all of these things you have to do. But sometimes I get the feeling that most people believe, most of our women or those who come from our culture, look at marriage as a goal or the goal. I have arrived. Oh, wow. Finally, I'm married. Wow. I have a very different perspective when it comes to marriage. And what I would say is, for me, the way I look at marriage is, oh, God has blessed you with a helper. Someone who can help you achieve those dreams. Someone who can move in your purpose with you. So getting married should never stop you from skilling up. Never. There is no excuse because now you're not one, you're two. So you have even more potential to achieve those things that you dreamt of. Think about it. There are many marriages crumbling these days because the women got married and then relaxed. The men are killing themselves, working out there, struggling to make ends meet, and you're just relaxing. And the men get frustrated. And they're frustrated. Why? When you were courting, when you guys met, he saw this drive in you. He saw all of this potential. He thought he was bringing that person on so that they can build something together. And then you come in and you relax. I feel like it's really the time to hit that purpose. It's time to look at those visions. Women are quite visionary. That's what I think anyway. I think for example, my mind goes wild with the possibilities of things that I can do. And now, as a married woman, you have somebody who can help you. Talk to your husband. Share those dreams. Excuse me. Share your passion. And you guys work towards it together. So I'm addressing the married women because I feel like it's super important. There's a foundation there, a family. That if that family is strong enough, is healthy enough, and all of that comes with what? You are able to work and get what you need to raise that family. The woman is at the backbone. That's a fact. The men, yeah, they are the head of the family, but a woman, there's a lot more. There's more value that you bring in when you decide to really take the challenge. Let the kids not stop you. They have a life. They're going to live their lives. Have the kids. Live your own life. You have a purpose. God did not send you here to get married. No. You have something that the world needs you to bring in. Live your purpose. And living your purpose means you're going to have to take some very rough cuts. You're going to get uncomfortable. Get out of your comfort zone. Do something out of the box. And tomorrow you will be very proud of yourself.
Buri, thank you so much.
Please,
if you're listening to this episode of my podcast and you know Buri, join me. Join my voice and tell her that there is something. She needs a show. She needs she needs to build something where she can talk. Yes, she needs something. Help me encourage her and make her understand that what she has in her, there are millions of people out there who need to hear her talk. So please, join this train. Let's get this girl out of. I thank you so much, my dear. I appreciate your time. Yes, I appreciate your time so much. And again, if you want to know more about what Buri does, she has an Instagram page, Buri's Creations. Is that correct? Buri's Hair Creations. So yes.
Buri's Creations.
What's it even? Yes.
Oh my God, we didn't talk about this. Baking.
Okay,
and I have a page.
Okay, just okay. So I'll add them to the description of this so you can go find her, look at the things she does. reach out to her, tell her, like, just have a chat with her. She listens, right? This is me. If Buri had a consulting firm, now this is me sending clients her way. But again, nonetheless, she'll still listen to you. She is such an amazing individual. She has an amazing personality that I bet you,
thank you so
it
much.
was invaluable to
so
me, and it is still invaluable. I cannot put value on what Buri has done in my life. Like the way she has helped me become better, there is no value I can put on that. So I thank you again so much, my dear, for coming up on this podcast. And yes, my dear listeners, do not forget to follow the Facebook page, the You Can Be Anything podcast Facebook page. There is also a new Instagram page, You Can Be Anything podcast. Please follow those and stay intact. If you listen to this on Apple Podcasts, please remember to leave a review. Let us know your thoughts. If you have questions for Buri and you've not connected with her on Instagram yet, reach out to me, reply to this episode, and I will let her know. She will respond to your questions. Check out this video on YouTube. The video will be under my name, Solange Che, and please subscribe to that channel because I might just be having a part 2 with this awesome girl. Thank you again, Buri. Thanks for being my guest.